All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. As usual, Super Chats are enabled. For those of you on Twitch, I still haven't set that up yet. So we'll make sure that we're live over here on Rumble as well. Give me a moment, my precious. Please stand by. Come on, you know that you want to go live. Give me the stream. No. Oh, come on. Okay, yeah, we're live on Rumble now. Excellent. Seen Gundar. Has Styx given an ETA on these live streams, or is it ABWA as baby will allow? Mostly it's just I stream whenever I want to, actually. It does get scheduled a little bit around the baby when she's asleep, etc. She's upstairs right now with her mother, so resting comfortably. Let me make sure everything is kosher here. I think that all of our links are up here. I believe. We got a lot of news to cover today. Remember, I will be doing the Super Chats if somebody sends them on Rumble or on YouTube. However, this is mainly a news recap. Calcor on Twitch. Why are you still a libertarian in 2022? Because I have principles, and they haven't changed. Ultimately, while the Republican Party is certainly better than the Democratic Party, and then that's partisan, it has nothing to do with ideology. While there is definitely a lot of improvement there, and I'd support Trump or some similar candidate if they run, I am still a libertarian. I believe in maximized individuality because I understand history. Fire down below on YouTube. Serious question, Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2? The first Evil Dead. I liked that one better. It had less of the slapstick comedy, which Raimi put in the second one. It's a good movie. I'm not claiming that it's not. I like the original better, though. Calcor on Twitch. Fair enough. You took my snide question so nicely. I feel bad now. Haha. Oh, no, there's no snide or anything like that. You know, I'm not going to abandon my principles simply because it's fashionable. Yeah, I could pretend to, you know, have an awakening and, oh, okay, now I'm a card-carrying conservative Republican. I'm a card-carrying leftoid or something. There are a lot of creators who do that. Yeah, they may get more subscribers, but they're selling their soul. No, thanks. I'll stick with my clankers. They know exactly where I stand. And we're branching out, my man. We're getting bigger by the day. Almost 92,000 people following on Rumble, by the way, already. There's a bunch of people watching already on that platform as well. But we'll mainly be getting into news. I've got 6 different stories here. Could only fit 3 of them into the title because, you know, these sites are primitive. It'll be funny. There's lots to talk about. And of course, keep in mind, for those of you that are just joining, keep in mind that fairly soon, I don't know if there are any decisions today. Let me look that up really quickly. There are still impending Supreme Court decisions. Supreme Court calendar. Calendars and lists, Supreme Court of the United States. That doesn't tell me what I need. No. Supreme Court calendar PDM. Yeah. Supreme Court calendar signals possible overturn of Roe v. Wade ruling this week. That was last week that was posted. People don't know what the hell is going on there. They pretty much do what they want. Conference days, opinion issuance days. That's for, yeah, okay. Okay, so tomorrow we should be getting some opinion issuances and possibly on Thursday. So tomorrow there may be a live stream with regards to that, possibly Thursday. I'm hoping that at least one of the major decisions comes through. The Chevron one was the big one last week, and nobody cares. They're not focused on it. The big ones that we have to look forward to, number one, obviously Roe v. Wade. will abortion at the federal level in the constitutional sense be parsed from being upheld by the 14th Amendment? Secondly is guns, concealed carry. That's a New Jersey, New York issue. I think that they'll rule the right way on that, just to be clear. There's an EPA decision that has to do with the scope of that particular bureaucracy and their ability to regulate carbon emissions. But that's up in the air. And then there's the main decision. This one is probably the hardest to guess, which is, can public funding be used for religious schools? And the idea is that on one hand, you're funding religion, potentially. On the other hand, though, if you don't fund these schools, you're depriving equal protection from students in those schools who are due that same funding. I have no clue how they're going to rule on that one. It's impossible for me to make a guess. It could be a 9-0 in either direction. That's the reason why it's so hard to guess, is that you could make an argument for literally either of the arguments made, and the opinion could join. I mean, the majority could join either one. Double G sent $1. No statement. Thank you. Not a banned account. Thoughts on the Lithuanian blockade of Kaliningrad? I don't think the Lithuanians have enough military power to truly blockade anything, but yeah. Apparently that's a big thing. We will be talking a little bit about Ukraine attempting to join the EU, though. That will be one of the news topics that we cover. Scarfy the Strange, what kind of magic system would you put in a game? Oh, I would just make it like regular sword and sorcery, like, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, that sort of stuff. Something like Skyrim. Shooting lightning from your hands is always very popular. By the way, if you get an updated mod for that, so that the graphics and the gameplay in general are better, it is fairly impressive. Bethesda is very good at allowing people to make their games much, much better than they originally were. Fallout 4 falls under this category. Get about a dozen mods on that, it's like a totally new game. Justin Rose, predicting the Supreme Court will rule in favor of states' rights. Yeah, with Roe v. Wade, the general consensus is they will strike it down. And even if they don't, they will uphold the Mississippi law, which would just kick the can. They might as well just strike it down and let the states have it out, because, I mean, the alternative is basically bullshit. Calcor, but since Lithuania is part of NATO, it's not clear how Russia can strong-arm them without severe repercussions. Yeah, but imagine this. The Russians strong-arm the Lithuanians. They basically ignore the blockade, and they say, fire on us at your own hazard, fuck off. What are they going to do? Are they going to fire back on Russian vessels starting World War III? And NATO, under the de facto leadership of both Biden and now Macron, I would say, he's the minor party, will they fire back? Do they have the balls to do so? I don't have a problem with that. If you want to make Fallout real life, I can survive. I like to grow radioactive vegetables too, but I think a lot of people would be reluctant. Yeah. God Emperor Lato 2 on Twitch. Denmark threatened to fire on a Russian ship. Threats mean nothing. The Russians have been issuing threats. And they're saying that effectively the current sales to Ukraine are an act of war, and they're making threats. NATO's making threats to them. It's the same brinksmanship that people that are just old enough to remember the tail end of the Cold War remember, including myself. People that are a bit younger, you probably don't remember. This is the norm for the last almost 100 years. This is not abnormal behavior. And it was going on even outside of the context of the Cold War. You've got to understand that the fighter jets and ships of NATO partners, the Russians, the Chinese certainly, have repeatedly violated the territorial sovereignty of other countries. And it has never led to, well, with a couple of exceptions, rarely led to any actual live fire. Pine Ridge, constitutional carry signed into law in Indiana. Excellent. Yeah, the more the merrier. Even if it doesn't get upheld, even if there's shall issue instead of constitutional carry, at this point it's a dead issue. People will be able to carry their weapons. I like that because I love carrying a weapon around when I go on down on the town. I figure if I'm in a bank and someone starts, trying to rob the tellers or something, I'll be the good guy with the gun. I'm not going to sit there with my thumb up my ass and wait to get shot or something like that. Anyway, just a second. Let me organize things here. Let's see. We've got a lot to cover. 6 different news topics. Open carry for all, says the Patriot Chiro. Yeah, and concealed. Here's the thing. Here's what I want to ask. Why is it any different whether you're carrying the gun on your hip where people can see it or whether you're carrying it here on your chest? You're still carrying the same weapon. What's the difference? Who cares? Open carry is legal anyway, so... Anyway, we'll go to the first news topic. You can follow along if you'd like. There are links in the description of this video, cross-platform, archived, of course. And we'll get to the first news topic here. By the way, we have 3 Biden loser units already just on YouTube. So excellent. Democrats can break the midterm curse. This is on, what is this, Newsweek, I think it is? I don't know. This is The Nation. Contrary to popular belief, incumbent parties aren't automatically fated to lose seats. Just look at 1998. And I'm thinking this is some massive copium. Let's explore this a little bit more deeply. What was the economy like in 1998? For those of you who remember, which is roughly half of you, it was great. The economy was going fine. Yeah, the crime rate was technically higher than it is now, but that was a backseat issue. People realized at the time it was mainly limited to the inner cities. Small town America didn't give a shit. The economy was going well. .coms haven't burst yet. No housing bubble. You're at the end of the Clinton term. Things are generally going fairly well. The last few times that the reigning party did not lose control of the House of Representatives or lose a significant number of seats, like I think in 2016 as well. The last time that happened was ages ago. I don't see any of the markers of 1998. Can you imagine comparing 2022 to 1998? You don't have a border crisis. Well, you do, but it's more of a silent thing. You have the crime, but it's, people understand that it's just inner city. At the time, 1998, yeah, you've got the internet, but, people aren't really spreading things. There's no social media, for example. You certainly do not have the foreign policy crises we have. You certainly don't have the economic crises we have. This is apples to oranges copium that they're snuffing right down here on this article. I guess, Al Gore and Newt Gingrich are still politically relevant in their minds. Very, very funny. Conventional wisdom holds that Democrats are doomed to defeat in this year's midterm elections. It's an article of faith that the party that controls the White House automatically loses seats in the next election. So much so that members of the Biden administration are already hiring lawyers in anticipation of needing to fend off investigations by a Republican-led Congress. But such an outcome is not a foreordained law of nature, and Democrats have previously defied the odds, most notably in 1998. Well, it was a while ago, so just to be clear. The lessons from that contest offer valuable insight about how to maintain Democratic control of the House of Representatives this year. And it goes off into Clinton and shit like that. Dude, turnout among the Democrats is likely to be low in this particular election. It usually is lower during midterms anyway. The Republicans, because they are more bottom-up than top-down, do tend to have a midterm advantage anyway that's ingrained there. The ruling party has a disadvantage because people take out their frustration on that ruling party unless things are going really well. 1998, things are going pretty well. 2022, how many people actually think things are going well right now? It's copium. It's a pure cope. Seethe and dilate, dude. You're going to need to. Kitty, please don't go on the keyboard. Yeah, Kitty has made an appearance. Yes, she has. What a scritchy kitty. I don't know. I got distracted. Let's see. We got some more super chats here. Transylvania 90. Do you think Roberts is waiting to release the Roe overturn until it's politically most expedient to have the leftoid rioting that would result? I don't think that's his MO. To be clear, while I disagree with many of his decisions, I don't think he is purely a subversive. I just think that he's wrong many times. He is more of the negotiator. He likes being the swing justice, although he's been robbed of that now by Kavanaugh. He likes that role. I don't even disagree with his position. Of course, I believe in a woman's right to choose. I don't think that's why. I really don't know why he's sitting on it. I think that they're just kicking the can down the road. Maybe actually it's the opposite, because he is technically marginally a conservative, kind of, sort of, even though he's a globalist. Maybe he's hoping to have the riots closer to midterm so that people will punish the left more. It'd be funny if John Roberts were actually a hero of the republic sort of person. I'm not thinking that. To be clear, I'm not making that suggestion seriously. But it's possible. Yeah. Mickelvo, hey, Sticks, I was wondering about your opinion or mini review about What is a Woman documentary. It was quite good, but a few parts were cringe in my opinion. I watched part of it and liked it. I can answer the question very quickly in one sentence, which is a person without a Y chromosome. That's it. Short and sweet. Glitchy Rhythm. Thoughts on the food and chicken plants burning lately? Yeah, there seem to be a lot of food processing plants and so forth that have been immolated. It seems fire is quite popular when it comes to chicken farming. What I would like to see is a comparison. Can somebody please dig for news articles, statistics, etc., for arsons, unintentional fires too, disasters and stuff, for food processing plants in 2021, and then compare them to 2022? Because it could just be that more people are reporting on it. I really genuinely don't know. And the cat, by the way, out there is singing. She's lonely. Many such cases. Hunter Wadley, do you think Biden will do a soft drill, baby drill, if Russia ended all conflict with Ukraine? You know media would cover if gas prices came down. No, I don't. I think that he's hobbled by the left wing of his party on that one. Kevin Lallemand, by 2028, all Democrat men in government will be wearing dresses, you know, dressed in drag. I think some of them probably already do, at least in private. Meanwhile, they would like to drag Madison Cawthorn for his cruise ship foibles. 213th AIB sent $19.99. No comment. Thank you very much. But yeah, so the Democrats are coping. That was the first bit of news I had to go through. Second, we'll do a recap, actually, of something that I covered this morning, which is Hillary Clinton suggests transgender debate should not be a priority for Dems. Clinton says Republicans are so extreme that the other issues are out the window. Former presidential candidate Hillary Clinton said Democrats should be focused on winning elections and suggested they should not treat the transgender debate as a priority. I agree with her for entirely different reasons. Of course, she's speaking from the pragmatic side, and my analysis this morning was basically this. You're bitching about the far left in your party, the AOCs, the Bernie Sanders, making, you know, groomer literature, basically, which is the actual debate that people are having. Nobody cares about anything else. Available to little kids, drag queen, story time, and things like that. But you caused that. You're bitching about it, but you're the actual cause of it. You invited these leftists into the Democratic Party by promising them all of the things that they wanted. We're going to have more justice. We're going to have reparations. We're going to have UBI. We're going to have more welfare. We're going to have universal pre-K, universal Medicare. The list goes on and on, free college and stuff. You made them all these promises for the better part of 20 years, including when you were yourself were in the Senate. And you never delivered on any of these things. Meanwhile, these people got wise enough to realize there were vulnerable neoliberals in certain parts of the country that never really had to run for re-election. They ran unopposed, or they never had any significant competition because the other candidates were also neoliberals and they were incumbents. And they decided to undercut them. And now all of a sudden, you have 7 communists in the House of Representatives, all of which are Democrats. And now you're pretending like you don't know why this happened. And you're saying, well, now we need to shut up about these issues. Just focus on winning. They'll win anyway, Hillary. They're in far blue districts. They don't face any opposition. They've already outmaneuvered you. They don't, they're focused on winning for themselves. And so the Justice Democrats have 7 members of the House of Representatives basically eating from George Soros' hand. And these people aren't, you know, they're not intelligent or anything like that. They're just sort of there for show. The House Progressive Caucus among the Democrats has grown massively. It's dozens and dozens of people. They've got 7 people there that are self-professed socialists, aka communists. Yeah, you're going to be able to put the genie back in the bottle now. Now, I think the only way that happens is that the Democratic Party loses so badly in the midterms, and I hope that this happens. And to Democrats out there, you should vote Republican or Libertarian or something, or stay fucking home, because this is actually to help you. Just to be clear, I'm giving ammo to the enemy. The Democratic Party, if it reforms, is no longer an enemy. If you want your party to no longer be dysfunctional, if you want it to actually be a serious political party that represents the interests of actual Americans and isn't off in la-la land, let it die. Let it lose massively. The Republicans will actually overstretch for a change. I'll be getting to an example of that. By the way, I'm beginning to see that as a shift in politics at the end of this video. Let it die, and then force them to do soul searching. Purge the socialists from your party. That's all you have to do. Go back to being a party of JFK or something like that. Not a banned account. Is the Great Reset ushering feudalism in inevitable? No, it's not. In fact, it's desperately embattled. It's extremely hazarded right now. Even liberals aren't liking the idea. Jose Alba, Madison Cawthorn was pretty good, but exposed a lot of stuff. Yeah, he said he got invited to cocaine orgies, and then all of a sudden he lost his job. What a coincidence. I seem to remember, by the way, that same legacy media that dragged him for the suggestion that there were people in the House and Senate offering him coke and saying, hey, come screw a bunch of hookers. I seem to recall that it was John Boehner, not that many years ago, well, a decade by now probably, but that said that when they were doing the final budget talks, this was at the end of the Obama admin, I believe, and they couldn't really make inroads. There was a log jam in their legislation. He said that you could smell the bottle, basically, in the negotiations. Everyone smelled like booze. Now, let me ask you this. Why would these politicians be boozing it up, partying? They're obviously partying. We've seen footage of it, unfortunately. Nancy Pelosi's flaccid cottage cheese nipples rubbing against Mitch McConnell's turtle cock. Why wouldn't they use other substances? You think that these people don't break the law like everyone else in the United States? Skeeving on taxes, doing drugs, drinking and driving, all the other things that people do on an unfortunately fairly regular basis. These people are beyond reproach. I think Madison Cawthorn was telling the truth. I think he was being absolutely serious. Opinionated Junkie, best place to meet women, bars and church. I wouldn't say bars is a good place to meet women, or men for that matter, or something in between these days, I suppose. That's probably what you get in a bar. Mickelvo, also regarding the recent gun debate, we gun owners should probably admit there is no major difference between single 5.56, same type, bullet fired from an AR-15 or M4, if we want to be transparent. Yeah, it's select fire, really, that makes the difference. Let's see here. 487 Sean Tower. I heard you saying in France they will side with minority government on Macron. I could not disagree more. They will do like Trudeau and side with the ultra-communist and outlaw real conservative parties. They might side with the leftoids. I just think it'll be really difficult to pass any budget. Matthew Daniels. Do you think France has a say in NATO Joint Command if they only just became a participating member in 2009? Their absence for the past few decades speaks of a backseat role regardless of their military capacity. Yeah, but Macron, in the diplomatic sense, you'll remember he tried to take the fore on the Russia negotiations. He went over there to meet with Putin. Biden wouldn't. France is getting a big dick about things. That's, by the way, not great for the world when the French do that. Not a banned account. Will Kamala Harris be allowed to succeed Biden? Possibly. It depends. So yeah, there's Hillary Clinton on the transgender debate, as though there's really a debate to be had, saying it shouldn't be a priority. Very funny. Then we've got Ukraine updates. We'll get into that briefly. Historic week. Russia to launch greater hostile activity as Ukraine gets EU update. Now, what's the update? Vladimir Putin's Russia will intensify offensive forces and artillery attacks against Ukraine and potentially other European Union member states. I doubt that. In response to the European Commission officially granting Ukraine the status of candidate for EU membership. Now, this is a semi-unofficial status. It's basically, hey, we're talking about whether we're going to allow you to join our club. Sweden and Norway are currently in the same club. The Turks have said, fuck off, basically. They want an answer to their Kurdish question before they will conceive of voting more members into NATO. I support kicking the Turks out of NATO as a result of this. I'll tell you why. And I'm not an expansionist. I'm not, Russiaphobe or something. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Russia is the devil. I do oppose the invasion of Ukraine, but Vladimir Putin is still a sane actor. I oppose some of the hyperbolic rhetoric that we've seen. If Turkey is trying to prevent other nations from joining the alliance that otherwise are unanimously going to be granted membership, and that alliance is largely defensive, it's not predominantly an attempt to project force, then why is Turkey in the alliance? Why would you want to be part of an alliance unless to grow it and make it more strong? Are the Turks afraid that Sweden and Norway will stymie their plans in some way with their limited military capabilities? I mean, Sweden's navy is okay, but they don't exactly have a huge amount of manpower or a massive strategic position. They happen to be relatively close to Russia. The Turks have straddled the line now for more than 10 years between the East and Western blocs. And look at where it's gotten them. Their currency is hyperinflated. Their economy is a goddamn drag. Other than controlling the Bosphorus and having a really good land capability, they face off against the Egyptians, the Iranians, or the Saudis, certainly. Other than that, what do they have? They host U.S. nuclear platforms, and you control the Bosphorus. You very helpfully decided to close off the Bosphorus to Russian freighters, and then you turn around and you do this, and I don't understand what the fucking point is. The real point, and this is the only understanding that you can make, let's face it, is that they want to extract concessions. They want a concession from the rest of Europe and the US on beating on the Kurds and probably invading northern Syria. We have two choices if we want to have Sweden and Finland and Norway in NATO. The first choice is you kick Turkey out. And I think that would probably be the better choice. Let them go rogue. Fuck it. The other option is you just give them their concession and say, look, go ahead and invade the Syrians. We don't care. You'll have to deal with, the Iranians potentially, and we're not going to defend you. And that would probably be better for the world. Who cares if they go to war with each other? Let the Turks and the Iranians hash it out, and we'll see what happens. They can show off their military muscle. They can show off for the world and be watched like a TV channel. I don't believe in starting a war over the Bosphorus, so to speak. Go ahead. Have some fun. You got lots of missiles. You got fucking over 1,000 tanks. Turkey's got a huge military. You can hold your own. Don't worry. Let's see. Leo C, are we approaching maximum wokeness, or did we already pass the peak? I think we already passed the peak. It's being put back into the bottle. The genie is being stuffed back in there ass first. Barra7331, sorry if you already answered this. Have you seen 2,000 Mules, and what's your thoughts? I have, but I can't give my frank thoughts because this stream is on YouTube and Twitch. Honk honk. That probably, tells you what my thoughts are. Pretty good. You should definitely watch it. The cat is still yelling out there. I don't know what she's yelling at this point. Hey, Yana, you want to be on the video instead of having a musical concert? Kitty, come on. Now she's slow walking it. Clayton Jordan, my girl's Serbian parents are taken by Eastern Russian propaganda and news. They think that Ukrainians want to be part of Russia. Any insight into the level of truth on that specific claim? Who lies worse? It is true that the eastern provinces that Russia has effectively subsumed, they do wish to be Russian, more than being Ukrainian. The problem is Ukraine, if you assume its sovereignty, and some people do and some people don't, has the right to administer those territories too. The fact that people there speak Russian and think more friendly of Moscow than Kiev really doesn't make any strategic difference now, does it? It's a little bit of a mixed bag, my opinion on the subject. And of course, because I have nuance in my beliefs about that, half of the population will call me a Russian shill and half the population will call me a NATO shill. So I piss off everyone. I wouldn't have it any other way. The Happy Plague Doctor, watering my garden listening to Styx. How cool. Excellent. Yeah, they need a lot of water in this heat wave. Transylvanian 90, Turkey is a fence-sitter whose behavior is a huge thorn in the side of NATO. I suspect the Turks may even have territorial aims in the Balkans too. Oh, I don't give a shit if they have territorial aims. Let them go for it. That being said, then they don't need NATO protection. Jesse Southwell, recently I joined the Grey School of Wizardry after hearing about it on your show. Loving it so far. Thank you for talking about it. Will you be doing more occult content in the future? Clank, clank. Yes, I've got, I think, 6 or 7 occult videos lined up as we speak. It's just that right now we have so much news, so many political analysis bits to talk about, I haven't gotten time in a few days. But I'll be plowing through those long before the end of the year. I'll add more as well. Some of the plants out there are screwing each other. I don't know what kind of trees are... I had a big swelling actually in my neck a few days ago. I think it was allergy related. I've got a hoarse throat and, headache. Jose Alba, Chinese government is in the White House right now. Yeah, and in the Senate, and in the House of Representatives. Thankfully, it doesn't seem to have pierced the Supreme Court. That would be a problem. So yeah, third news story is that the Ukrainians are expecting that the Russians are going to pound the shit out of them for petitioning to join the EU, and then they did get acceptance in their potential bid. Then we'll talk about North Korea. North Korea reports epidemic of unidentified intestinal disease after COVID wave. Oh my God, it's another epidemic. We're all going to die. Oh wait, it's probably just cholera. They've had cholera outbreaks before. They don't have regular sanitation of their water supply outside of the cities. The cities in North Korea are reasonably developed. Everywhere else, it's sub-third world. It's like the middle of goddamn nowhere. People get water from wells with buckets, quite literally, living in ramshackle goddamn tin roof shacks. And that's what they have. And they farm rice. And sometimes there's no famine. Yes, if you have a population that's malnourished and you have the destabilization of lockdownerism, no shit, people's sanitation standards fell. Why don't you just give these people some sake or some other wine or something and have them mix it with the water? The ancients used to do that, and they never had these epidemics. They got cholera when they went to an area where they didn't have enough alcohol to sterilize the water. Josh Eternal, how much money did you make with your hit Come Sail Away? They probably made $1 million off of that fucker. Spider Eternal, favorite tree? I've been loving my Japanese maple. Oh, my mom loves Japanese maples. Favorite tree? That's a hard one. I really like oak trees. Sugar maples are nice. We don't have any on the property. Firs, balsam fir especially. I think white birch, though, like paper birch. Mushrooms like to grow under them. Their wood can be fired even when it's wet, which is good for survival. Also, you can draw on the birch bark as it falls off. You can use it as paper. Steppenwolf sent $10 for a haircut. That will not happen. I'm just going to let it grow until it hits my ass. Then I can wipe my ass with my own hair like a hippie. Destruction 89. Hey, Styx, did you notice Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift, Jennifer Lawrence, and a ton of other celebrities have slowly been getting surgery to look Asian? No, I didn't, because I don't give a shit about what they do. A bunch of vapid morons, actually, all of them. Bretling on Twitch. And fur tea is wonderful. I've never had it. I know that the tips of certain spruce needles are used to flavor beer sometimes. That was what they used before hops were generally available. And it's a stimulant. So originally, beer would keep you up at night instead of making you pass out. Can you imagine that? They must have been 10 times more randy than beer drinkers today. By the way, I do have my lemon drink. I don't have lime today, just lemon, sadly. I don't want to get scurvy. That would be bad. Imagine your leg bones bend and you lose an inch of your height. For me, that would be terrible. Then we have another news story here. We get to talk about this. Reports. Biden admin orders ammo maker to stop selling 5.56 rounds to Americans. Now, this has to do with Winchester, specifically, their 5.56 rounds. I got so many questions here. First and foremost, how would it be legal for the chief executive, or the military for that matter, to simply say stop selling a certain kind of ammo? That would be my first question. Secondly, why that particular ammo? I mean, we actually know why. It's because of the paranoia behind the AR-15, but any reasonable expectation, any reasonable analysis of ammunition types, rifle types, you wouldn't make that suggestion. Thirdly, why would anyone care? Let's say that they stop one manufacturer from selling those extra rounds to the American public. Again, it's not clear that would be legal. Would not other manufacturers simply take up the difference and make more 5.56 rounds? I know if I were working for some competitor of Winchester right now, I'd be ramping up production. Hey, we just opened another factory. We'll open it in Delaware, just as an homage to the person making it economically feasible to do so. And we're going to pump out an extra 500,000 rounds a month. That'll be great. Cha-ching, lots of money. Kyle Miller, did you see the deleted ABC tweet that said the Dems would gain seats in the Senate and keep the House? Yeah, they're not going to gain seats in the House. They could keep the Senate, though, feasibly. It is almost a zero-sum game. I would say the break-even for me is the Republicans gain 2 seats. By the way, that's not the greatest news in the world, because you got to understand some of the GOP senators are like Romney. Well, Romney is not exactly a principled MAGA type. He's a neocon. He's like Obama, basically. I used to compare the two of them. He sounded like Obama. If you closed your eyes, you couldn't tell who was speaking unless you listened to the accent. Not a banned account. Will the United States banks do bail-ins soon? I do not know. By the way, how many buy and loser units are we at between the two platforms? We are at 8 Biden loser units. Yes. 8 or 9 is the norm. So we are right in that target zone. Let's see if we can get to more of them. Hunter Wadley. You know the age debacle is going to happen. What does Trump do? Is Paul old? Is DeSantis significantly younger? I know I can search for these things, but I like the engagement. Well, I mean, if Biden runs, the age question is off the table. The legacy media won't bring it up because he'll be the oldest candidate. Trump is a spring chicken. He's 4 years younger. DeSantis is, I think, not even quite 50 yet. Rand Paul's not that old. It wouldn't be a question if either of them run. If Trump runs, it would be, but not if Biden is his opponent. So I don't see that it'll make a huge bit of difference. They will, after the midterms, pressure Biden to stand down. They will pressure him to bring up age as the reason he is standing down. That would be an attempt to prevent Trump from getting in and winning. It won't work in the primaries, but for the general, I mean, as well as keeping out Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. They don't want Bernie to run, and they don't want Hillary to run. Trust me, they don't want either of them anywhere near the White House. They certainly don't want Bernie in because he'll lose anyway, and then he'll take millions of leftoid voters with him because they won't accept anyone else. Third time is not going to be a charm if he runs. It would cripple the Democratic Party. See. Not Heisenbear. 223 will work on 5.56 rifles, so useless. Yeah, although it doesn't work quite as well, if I remember correctly. But anyway, Winchester does 30% of the 5.56 supply, according to this article, and don't have statistics, so I won't make a positive statement. That just means that 70% of the supply is still there. Those people make more money because it'll be worth more because supply is now lower and demand is the same. So they'll make more money. Maybe they'll invest in making more 5.56 rounds, or maybe they'll just enjoy the extra income. It'll still be available. It's not like it's going to go away or anything. You know how many, probably hundreds of millions of rounds of 5.56 people have hoarded anyway? They'll sell it privately. And people that have a whole shit ton of it, they'll sell off part of their supply and they'll make bank. Then they'll buy other ammo. Damn, I should have gotten in on that grift. I should have speculated on ammunition. Instead of gold and silver, I guess I should have speculated on brass and lead. And then we have to talk about this. Okay, so just a second here. That's the SCOTUS link. Fuck that. We have to talk about the Republicans screwing the pooch a little bit here. Gay Republican group says being excluded from Texas GOP convention is not just narrow-minded, but politically short-sighted. I agree, by the way, as someone who believes in gay equality, but I'll try to get into the politically pragmatic side because, of course, that's the only thing people are going to give a shit about. Politically pragmatic side of this is as follows. Right now, the biggest advantage that the GOP has is that the Democrats have been whining and dining socialists, critical race theory peddlers, Idpol leftoids, drag queen story hour, grooming literature, and shit like that. They've gone so far left, so far beyond the pale, that even center-left independent Americans have completely tuned out the Democratic Party. Huge benefit for people who are conservative, people who are GOP. They don't always overlap, but generally speaking, big advantage for them. Now you have the GOP. Instead of responding by saying, hey, we are the broad tent party, we're tired of the Idpol Marxism and horseshit over here, come and join us, we're a big happy family that just wants to be fucking left alone and lower taxes and so forth. Instead, the Texas GOP, they've made some decisions over the last few days that I like something related to the 2020 election that, again, I can't get into any detail on because we're on YouTube. But kicking the log cabin Republicans to the side, does this not help optically as far as strategy goes? Don't think about whether it's right or wrong. Okay, you don't like gay marriage or something, so be it. Strategically speaking, is that not a justification of the largely tall tales that are being told about the GOP by the leftoids right now? I answer yes. The problem is this. The GOP at large has no problem with gay marriage. It is a dead issue in the United States. This is an example of what happens to the Democrats and has been for years now, which is you get some Democrat in a far blue district saying, hey, Fidel Castro actually is pretty cool. Pol Pot is my homie. And it hurts the party. It hurts their federal bottom line. It doesn't hurt them personally because their constituents don't have a problem with it. They went far left to get their position. They stay far left because they don't have to go anywhere else. And they keep getting reelected. This is an example where an increasingly red Texas actually is arguably becoming political dead weight because now they're throwing people under the bus that for years, in many cases, have been registered members of the Republican Party. Keep in mind, a party and an ideology are not the same thing. A party has to be more broad tent in order to function. That's the Democrats' problem. Their tent is all sorts of fucked up. It's got a bunch of patches and holes in it because they keep infighting. You're probably going to see some of the same thing for the GOP now because of this. I don't think it's helpful. It could even be a foreshock to a situation in which the Republicans successfully managed to screw up the midterms and not take back enough of the House. And they'll still take the House, but maybe by an underwhelming margin because of this horseshit. Yeah, sure, it helps the Republican that's running in a district that's 80% Republicans. That's wonderful. You were going to win it anyway. What about the swing district in which a person has to make that choice as far as their vote goes? And they've been told by the Democrats, if the Republicans get into office, they're going to ban gay marriage. Roe v. Wade is just a precursor to this. And normally they would laugh at it. They'd say, oh, come on. You're being hyperbolic. Roe v. Wade, this is a SCOTUS decision. They're not going after gay marriage. Who gives a shit? But then you have this happen. And it justifies the arguments of the far left. Again, you can think that it's right. You can oppose gay rights, gay marriage, gayness if you want to. I'm only talking about political pragmatism. Again, to be clear, I support gay marriage. I have no problem with it. But from the pragmatic side of it, this is not. The real Holtzonator got sent a petition by a relative to try to defund Fox. Tim Pool and others are trying to overthrow the government. The cope is real. I like Tim Pool, but as far as defunding Fox News, yeah, absolutely. Fuck Fox News. Yeah, you should call up their advertisers and get them deplatformed. If Fox News dies, then independent commentators like me will be the last refuge of information for people who aren't far left. I think it would be good. Clumsy Vash got a pregnant feral cat. She's all black. What's a good hot a name for her? Firstborn male is going to be named Mr. Bigglesworth. Huh. Well, it depends on the personality. Monitor her personality and a name will come to you. That's typically how to do it. We've had cats named, we've got Yana and Farah here. Those are, by the way, fitting names. Gumby, Button, and Widget. Cleopatra, which fits. Amberly, which was a name that I thought up. Micah. Gizmo. Gizmo is very fitting. Quincy. Athena. Yeah, most of their names, they do fit. By the way, the cat's attempting to attack each other right now. Can you not do that? Oh, no, you're the good kitty. Okay. Yeah, Farah never does that. Yana does the attacking. Joe Biden's dentures. Your internet detractors would cut off a nut to get an invite on Timcast, yet Poole name drops you more than the Civil War. I find that hilarious. Yeah, I can't wait to go on his show when I'm back in the United States. Be flying out there. I guess he's in West Virginia. Give me a chance to see those Blue Ridge Mountains down there. Get some moonshine, listen to some banjo music. The Pooch. Why does every politician keep screwing me? Yeah. Because they're politicians. It's all they know how to do. We should exile them all. Be a much better world. Huns with guns. No, Texas GOP is right. Alphabets are not on our side. Actually, that is incorrect. Increasingly, and again, I say this as someone who is sort of with it, and I know people who are not straight. They've all been completely goddamn turned off by the leftoids and their Idpol. At this point, because they want to erase gender entirely, they're trying to groom kids with their retarded literature. They've turned off most of the gay community. I don't know anyone who's not straight, actually, that supports it. Yeah, those people would not want to vote Democrat, but if you tell them that they're not going to have any representation at all, and you justify the tales about the Republican Party being spun by the furthest left, they're going to take away your right to marry. They're going to put you in the kitchen like Handmaid's Tale. That is not politically helpful. And they're operating from the perspective of a party that is within a state that is becoming increasingly red. Texas had been becoming more of a swing state. It's gone. The Democrats have fucked it up. It's not going to go blue anytime soon. As I predicted, I seem to recall, by the way, getting dragged by a bunch of ethnonats on this subject when I pointed this out to begin with. Nobody wants to give me any credit, but I was right. Fuck you again. None of you watching, but fuck the haters. I mean, they're in a state that leans red and is getting more red. So for them getting elected means going further to the right. It's the same thing as what happens with the Justice Dems, like with AOC and stuff. There's no reason to have a moderated opinion. There's no reason to have any nuance in your opinion. You just take up the stereotypes about the left or the right that were made often by people that weren't, part of that group, and you just make them even more hyperbolic, and then you outmaneuver everyone, and you keep your job. Isn't that wonderful? I seem to recall people saying Hispanics were a monoparty group and would always be far left. I think some people are going to be eating crow after the midterms. And I'm going to laugh my ass off the entire time. Maybe I'll kill a crow with a pellet gun and I'll literally cook it up and roast it. And then I'll serve it on camera and say, anyone want to join me? Branch COVID-19. Sticks, do you ever email your senators or representative? If so, what's it like getting a response from Bernie? No, I just harass him on Twitter, or rather the staffer that actually uses his account. You think he knows how to tweet? He's even older than Biden. Hopium Gardener. Honestly, if the GOP screw the midterms, I think it's time to call this quits. How can you screw it up? Yeah, if they manage to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory in this particular time, Jesus Christ, they're hopeless. Trump gave them their balls back, but some of them would rather go and do retarded shit than actually focus on the issues. Look, you've won on inflation. You've won on crime. You've won on immigration and the border. You've won, arguably, at least to an extent, on foreign policy. You've won on fucking everything. Why are you focusing on this particular issue, kicking the log cabin Republicans out of your own convention? I seem to recall a few years ago, Trump actually was very, very happy and got a standing ovation, by the way, from the GOP, as the first log cabin Republican ever delivered a major speech at the convention in 2016. This was considered very good, and I considered it good too, because it's a dead political issue. It's dead weight around the Republican Party's neck outside of the red states. It's not going to help you to compete in Pennsylvania. It's not going to help you to compete in Wisconsin. What the hell are you doing, dude? Jesus. Butter a war. Recommendations for online occult schooling. Clank. Well, I've got a massive ass playlist full of occult videos. You can start there. And go to the Internet Archive and search for any occult topic among their books. And you can find plenty of free PDFs. I've got paperbacks, copies of many of them. I personally enjoy paperbacks more myself. Some people disagree. Yeah. And Tim Bucks, it's illegal to marry a non-sister in Tennessee. I think you mean Alabama, but yeah. Or Arkansas, maybe. JWT 6577. Is it the case that the reason the left embraced the most depraved part of the LGBT movement is to make the group look distasteful to conservatives, so they do stupid crap like this? Well, you got to understand, drag queen, story hour, and groomer literature are not the average gay or lesbian person, etc. And as far as the T, go ahead and score it out, because the idea of erasing gender kind of erases the LBG in LBGT now, doesn't it? If there is no solid identification of gender, if it's completely malleable and no longer makes any difference, how can you be gay? How can you be straight, for that matter? Bisexuality means nothing. You'd have to be polysexual because there would be more than those two genders you're referring to. And people who are gay, lesbian, or bisexual are beginning to sour on the idea of this Idpol because it's spiraling out of control. This has been pointed out by feminists. J.K. Rowling, I talked about Hillary Clinton just earlier in the stream, saying, oh, J.K. Rowling, she shouldn't be labeled a fascist. Well, no, she shouldn't. I think it's funny when she does, and that shows you the overstretching of the Idpol far, far left, the cringe fringe. But now the Republicans, at least situationally, some of them appear to be wanting to do the same thing. And I'm not seeing any justification at this point. You are a few months out from midterms. Will you please just fucking listen to me? Texas Republicans, get this to the fucking Republicans down there. Just apologize and go back on this. You may hate gay people. Hate them viscerally. You may think that they're going to hell, whatever. Abnormal lifestyle, I guess, was the line that you dragged out and so forth, whatever. Is it politically pragmatic? Is it going to help you retake the House and actually impose any of your ideals? Or are you basically sitting there punching yourself in the cock and the ass at the same time when your enemy has been doing the same thing for months? They have destroyed the economy. They've destroyed the border. They've led to a massive surge in crime. They're on the brink of World War III. You've got globaloid, Klaus Schwab, eat the bugs bullshit from top to bottom. You've got a sitting Dem president who can't even stand up half the time. And you're willing to delve into Idpol at this moment? You really think that that's wise? God, if you do that and you lose, then you deserve it. So fuck the Republican Party if it manages to do that. Jesus, I don't even think Trump can save them at that point. He could come back roaring on a goddamn unicorn like Kim Jong-un's birth story, and it still wouldn't be enough. Butter a war, LGB, no T. T ruins everything, lol. I don't say ruins. I don't care what adults get up to in their own private time. If someone wants to have gender surgery or something, I don't give a shit. I just think that the non-dichotomy of that system effectively erases the other three identities that are there. And as far as questioning, that's basically a joke because you can just pick or choose, be whatever you want on any given day and just call everyone non-binary, I suppose. The problem for the left is that they've embraced it so much that they're calling third wave feminist fascists like J.K. Rowling. They're calling people who are just gay or just lesbian and they're only interested in biological males or females. They're being called Nazis. They're insinuating that sexually explicit material should be taught in schools, some of which, by the way, is not LGBTQA+ or anything like that. It's straight material, like the one that I talked about the other day in my exclusive. It's, hard penis entering slippery vagina, always in and out, and then squirts his semen inside. It's like weird shit. And they're teaching it to fourth graders. It's not even, it's straight material. It's a boy and a girl screwing, and then the girl creepily explaining that to her little brother. Nobody wants that in schools. And the Republicans now are at hazard of alienating the same people that are flocking to their goddamn party because of how screwed up the leftoids have become on this issue. It's just not, I mean, even if you don't give a shit about the moral implications whatsoever, you hate gay people all you want. You think that lesbians are all going to hell. Is it politically pragmatic? If that's your belief, you have to promulgate it. How do you do that when you don't gain power? Because you've fucked yourself in the ass. It's as simple as that. But these people are all ideologues. They're like, you're acting like Elon Omar, dude. Some of these moron Republicans down in Texas, you're acting like AOC. Well, go ahead and do that. See what happens. Don't say I didn't tell you so. Miles Kinslow. Hey, Sticks, happy Father's Day. Hope this goes to a future podcast. Sticks and Stones. Yeah, that's been mentioned many times. Yellow Airman. Log cabin Republicans are just Idpol. I agree with their removal. Yeah, okay, there's some Idpol there, but the whole point is that the particular strategy that's being employed by the rest of the Republicans here, their particular explanation, was that they're not kicking them out due to Idpol. They're not kicking them out because, hey, you sound sort of like a leftist. Gayness happens to be part of your identity. That's not what we're about. That'd be fine. That's not why they're kicking them out. They're kicking them out on the understand they have an abnormal lifestyle. This is a settled issue. The supermajority of the American public has no problem with people being gay or lesbian or doing whatever they want to do. We are much more focused on groomer literature in schools and the erasing of gender and things like that. If you wish to ignore these things in order to go after some random generic gay conservative, like Milo gets kicked out of the GOP, I guess, you do so at your own strategic hazard. God damn, these people need somebody to whip them into shape. They need someone to explain these things in simple terms that they can understand. It has to be simple terms for these simpletons. Brian Zwar. So if the Democrats are so concerned about cow fart, shouldn't we be eating more grass-fed beef? I think that they were trying to feed what was it? Hey, kitty, don't attack your sister. I think they were trying to feed lemongrass to cows with the understanding that it reduced their gassiness. I don't know if it works or not. I don't personally think that it's really a problem for the world, but if you, I guess it's an easy solution. Till there's a lemongrass shortage, I use it in all of my Asian dishes. By the way, it is amazing. The Vietnamese have some good fucking food. Matt Denny sent $1 without any comment. Thank you very much. Yeah, Ulfane makes a good point. Myra Flores' entire dumb campaign is Idpol, yet you have idiots in the GOP sucking her off. Yeah, why don't you kick Myra Flores out? Oh, she already won. She's got a House position now and may or may not win in the general, but holds it for the next 6 months. Oh, maybe that's why. Is it because she's young and female? You don't want to tangle with that. You're only worried about dudes that suck dick. What about lesbians? I don't know if they do the log cabin Republican sort of thing. There are some people in Congress. Look at Lindsey Graham. Are you going to kick him out of the party? Oh, come on, dude. You know that he's in the closet. Does he get kicked out? No, because he's not open about it, about his cavorting with John McCain and his friends. Opinionated junkie. The U.S. is diverse now. GOP, get in line. No, it's not about that. It's about strategy. Regardless of what your ideology is, you can't promote that ideology at all if you alienate the people that are flocking to your party because the people you're opposing are so fucking goddamn stupid. Hey, no, I know you're coming over here because you think these other people are basically devil worshippers, literally trying to groom kids and stuff. But we're not the party for you. Yeah, we agree with you that grooming kids is wrong, but as an adult, you like cock too much, so you're not allowed to vote our way. We're going to keep you out of the convention. By the way, this is a stark reprisal against Donald Trump's ideology. Again, Donald Trump welcomed it. So the Texas GOP has effectively just gone further right. I see rumblings of them reverting to like the Tea Party evangelical or even like post-90s mentality. That is not a good place to be right now politically in the United States. Are you not learning anything from the ideologue bullshit of the left? That is why they are losing, because of this sort of horse crap. They don't care about the economy. They don't care about the border. They don't care about the everyday middle class and working class Americans getting fucked in the ass chocolate style. And now you're worried about log cabin Republicans who have fucking been there for 30 fucking years. No shit, you're going to have some reprisals and problems because of that. Holy shit. Not a banned account. When will Biden feed America by pushing the bugs? See, I made a Substack, I think last year actually, on that subject and said I ate bugs before it was cool. It was understood that you were trying to disgust people. Now hipsters are trying to make it, when that cicada storm came through, I made the article, and they're trying to make it artisanal. Here is your roasted cicada with arugula and squash. I'm thinking, yeah, $10 a plate for 3 cicadas. Dude, I'll just go out and grab them myself and heat them up with a lighter and pop their fucking heads off. I was a weird kid. I ate ants, worms, ate mealy worms once. Those were okay. They have a weird cheesy flavor to them usually. They're kind of bland, to tell the truth. But a war, Tea Party thinking will cause us to lose in 24. Yeah, unfortunately, it could be. For sure, maybe Kay. You pull off that pompous voice really well. Should have been born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Instead, I had to buy my silver spoons. Oh, Muffy, come over and eat your cicada salad. Mango roast. Cicadas stuffed with caviar. The Happy Plague Doctor, chocolate style, is now part of my vernacular. Yeah, that's where the Democrats are fucking the party in the ass sideways. They stick their sting in the nation sideways. They don't even want to reach around, by the way. It's basically rape. Rel 21,000 is the aggressive or mellow cat that loves the camera, and what's the camera lover's name? That one was Yana. She's the aggressive one. The other one's Farah, but they both come up here sometimes for a petting. Farah more likely is the one here most of the time. She likes to lay here, and I pet her while I do my work. Right now, they're just, I don't know, flummoxing. Salty Black. I am Jewish and hate the ADL for masturbating to any talking point against Jews. They want Jews hurt for money. Yeah, that's the problem with craptivism. It's just like Al Sharpton with black people, David Duke with white people. If there was no abuse going on, if there were no problems, where would their money come from? They wouldn't have a grift anymore. Of course, David Duke wants white people to be thrown in jail for hate speech. Al Sharpton wants black people to be shot by gang members. And the ADL wants Jewish people to be defamed. They love it. It's the only reason they make money. If there's no problem with it that the legacy media can't concoct, then they don't have an income. Uranium Rabbit. Hi, Sticks. They sent homosexuals to camps in the 40s, and now we are Nazis. My bedroom antics need not be on a flag. You're awesome. Yeah, and that's the other thing. I see a huge drawdown of people that are gay or whatever, especially just gay and lesbian individuals. So there's no gender idpol there. Not participating in like the pride and horseshit like that and even calling it out. We've got transgendered individuals doing the same. Blair White is on the forefront of that. Now we've got drag queens admitting to what I've pointed out, which is that drag is sexualized and drug-addled and that kids shouldn't be going to drag queen hour. There are people who deviate from the leftoid line, but the leftoid wants you to think that that is a homogenous line that all of those individuals take up so they can cast you off as hateful if you disagree. Oh, you don't want kids to go to the drag performance? You hate drag people, ergo you are homophobic. Well, some of them are straight males. Here's a drag queen saying otherwise. Oh, just ignore that. They're an Uncle Tom. That's basically what it boils down to. These people are a bunch of nerds. They wish that they could use racial slurs and gender slurs, by the way, to describe the people that they don't agree with. They'd be calling black people Aunt Jemima and shit like that for going against the Democratic Party. Jared Pierce, happy holidays, Sticks. Well, thank you. I don't know a holiday. If you mean Father's Day, I don't really celebrate it. Altas85. Biden and Dems' utter failure in leadership is persuasive. Shouldn't our platform be super simple? Competence versus incompetence. Yes, I agree with you absolutely, Altas. That and hey, maybe we shouldn't spend trillions more money when we've got hyperinflation. Maybe we should rein in our spending. Maybe we should not engage in the Idpol shit because it's alienating everyone. God, if you had a party right now that simply ran on a platform of Idpol is evil, they'd probably pull 10%. Jesus. Bobby Bologna, Barricade was right. You're a bitch. Lol, lol, lol. I don't know what that refers to. Is it me, or are you talking about someone else? The world may never know because you didn't use my username. New person on Twitch. I don't know what that refers to either. Chat on left side, 5 head. Huh. Justifiably stupid, one nation indivisible. Why are you arguing for the R's to import intersectionality instead of just making the platform more inclusive? I'm not arguing for them to import intersectionality. I'm saying that these people are members of the party under the same broad ideology, but the fact that they happen to be gay is a big sticking point. The Republicans didn't come out and say, hey, this is Idpol and we're not going to have that in the party, so we're kicking you out. That's not the justification that was given. Their own words exactly were abnormal lifestyle. They're dragging it into the moral issue framework. The Republicans did this in the 90s and 2000s. They began to lose because of it. That's why sane Republicans abandoned the premise. The Democrats, for some unknown reason, decided to take up the same losing banner and have been losing for years now on the same premise. And now you've got some Republicans crazy enough to take the banner back up. Yeah, just snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Really great idea, dude. Really great. No Yanas. By the way, no more super chats, please. We're over an hour. Sticks, leftoids are winning in South and Central America. Does it matter? No, because socialists have held most of those countries to begin with. You get a brief day in the sun occasionally where they have a non-socialist government and then they do a little bit better. And then socialists subvert the system and it collapses and then people vote the commies back in. They're doomed. Butter a war. Do you think we will see war in the U.S.? No, I don't think so. Yeah. Mavius Mar on Twitch. If you ever get your affiliate sticks, I'll get a sub. Yeah, but I have to go through like a lengthy process or some shit like that. I'm not going to bother trying to become an affiliate. Don't you have to moderate your language and your chat a lot more too? I'd rather just be edgy. I'm not on Twitch to make money. I can do that with YouTube and Twitch. So, I mean, YouTube and Rumble. So, opinionated junkie Goldwater had poor optics. A lot of people in the political world have poor optics. And sometimes that's fine. You know, you're Rob Ford or even Trump to an extent. And that's perfectly fine. The problem is if you're alienating large numbers of voters, it may only be a few percent of the population, but Texas isn't exactly solid red yet, even though it's moving that way. If you're alienating that group in the population that has been absolutely piling into your party because the other party wants to molest children, what are you doing? Why would you do this? Why do you not understand basic strategy? This is why I'm not a Republican, by the way. I could never join a party that is so keen on losing when they have been effectively handed the fucking victory. I'm sorry, I'm too intelligent to be a Republican. Just going to come out and goddamn say it. This is why I'm an independent voter. I'm not going to be a member of any party, including the Libertarian Party, even though they have become better now. Anyway, I think that I'm going to go off now. I've had a great time because there's just so much to talk about. It's so great. But yeah, I mean, my voice is getting a little bit hoarse because, again, I don't know what trees are mating right now. There's no pine trees around here. That's generally what I'm allergic to. I don't know exactly what flowers are flowering and where they're flowering, but I just wish that genocide would be committed against them by someone with a lot of herbicides. I'm wishing that they would go extinct so that I could breathe more easily right now. M62259, thoughts on the Kaliningrad blockade and Russian response? I don't really have many thoughts. We'll see how that plays out. But ultimately, Russian ships, they're not going to get stopped by Lithuanians. They don't have any naval capability to stop them. The Russian ships could literally just ignore them, refuse to even talk to them, and sail by. I have a feeling nobody would fire on the Russian ships. And by the way, blockading, naval group from a country to cut it off from a small chunk of its own land is pretty close to being an act of war, and I personally wouldn't support it. The people there have the right to self-determination too. They're Russian, technically part of Poland, but they are part of Russia. Let them fight a revolution if they want to rejoin Poland or something like that. That's about all. Peace out.